Welcome to Fun Parlay Podcast, where we are unpacking opinions and changing destinations. I am your host, Shirley Altador, where each week we will chat about how to rise strong out of all types of obstacles that come with relationships. Through personal life experiences and discussions ranging from infidelity, trust, forgiveness, sex, heartbreak, self-love, and so much more. I am passionate and obsessed to provide guidance to every woman to create a better life. Let's dive in, pull up a seat, make sure you're cozy, and get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn. With me, your virtual girlfriend. Welcome back to another episode of Fun Parlay Podcast, and today we have a special guest with us today. We have Riahna. She is an extraordinary, inspirational speaker, ambitious entrepreneur, multi-businesswoman. The scope of services includes entertainment business consultant, coach, and manager. She acquired real-world experience over the past several years. Her achievements are many and varied from business, entertainment, events, hospitality, sports, real estate, retail industries, which have widened her scope of knowledge and strengthened the relationships she builds with her clients. Riahna, thank you for being a guest. Welcome on the show. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing well. So I'm going to pass you the mic to add on to your bio. Tell the people more of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am a entertainment business manager as a trusted advisor for entrepreneurs, small business owners, and entertainers, helping them like automate their business or their brand and allow them to kind of reduce a lot of the tasks that they handle on a day-to-day basis and provide that input and expertise to help them scale in their business or their brand. And I kind of been doing that for the past full-time, I would say this past year or so, but independently the past 3 years.
Gotcha. Okay, so, very good.
Yeah, it's been
3 years. So before we're about to start your story, but then once we're done, what we'll do is I'll see what allowed you to transition into doing this full time, because this is, I'm assuming you kind of left your 9 to 5 and you do this work full time.
Yeah, it wasn't planned.
That's okay.
But yeah.
That's okay. And we're going to hear about it towards the end. So of course, we're going to pass you the mic and you are going to start off with your story.
Where should I start? Is it like the very beginning or just...
You could start wherever you want to start, wherever you feel comfortable starting, I should say. I may ask questions where will make us jump the timeline a little bit, but you start where you feel comfortable starting.
Well, I guess just starting back to my growth as a rising adult and a woman in this modern society. It definitely has been trying. A lot of silent battles that I've overcame and never really spoke on them too much of anybody, to be honest. It's very rare for someone to really know who I am and kind of like the things I've experienced, overcome, observe, things of that nature. I just kind of always put my best forth in working. So working like 7 days a week, like I would suppress a lot of the things that would go on in my life, personal life. My professional life was definitely always intact. Like that's kind of why I'm very like well-driven and goal-driven when it comes to a lot of my successful like goals that I have, but the personal, I just kind of keep it very private because everybody's going through their own trying times. And it's like, I never liked pouring myself onto other people, like knowing that their issues are like 10 times worse. So I've always just been the listener. A lot of my encountered acquaintances or associates, relationships, things like that. Yeah.
I could definitely relate because, with me, definitely my work life both entrepreneurship and the work I do now as a flight attendant, I feel like has always flourished, has always been positive. But there are times where my personal life, as you just said, man, I felt like I was climbing a mountain and my feet and my hands were bleeding to freaking death. And I was like, am I ever going to get to the top or get to a place where I could be extremely comfortable? So I could definitely understand what you say by the work life was flourishing, but your personal life was literally falling to pieces. So I wanted to get into, when you reached out to me, you had said to me here that heartbreak. I've been let down, neglected, and abandoned by many people who were once close to me. And you did specify that I'm extremely private, so I choose not to call people best friends because of this. Very similar in our thinking. I have very good close friends, but I wouldn't say I categorize people as my best friends. I categorize them in groups like A, B, and C. My group A is my really, really tight group. Group B, I can hang with y'all. C is where everybody else fall in. That's how I categorized it. So now if we are going to go into, what do you mean by this heartbreak? And this heartbreak, a relationship, romantic relationship, or are we talking about a relationship with family?
All relationships, because I'm private. So it's like when I like establish a bond with someone or befriend somebody, depend whether it's a relative, a person I'm interested in, or an actual friend that is like a classmate or something like that, coworker. It's like it takes time for me to remove my layers for them to get to know me. So it's definitely like a threefold on my end when it comes to relationships. It's like for me to even share elements of who I am, like in depth, it's like I have to like actually like you, like we cool, like I actually like you. Like otherwise I'm gonna just listen to everything you say and I won't remember, because like that's just not like, it's, you could literally tell me anything, I probably will not remember the next day. That's just things I've been enduring. But so it's like your secret is safe with me because I probably won't remember it. But it's like for me to share something about you, it's like that topic I would have to connect with, or there would have to be some trust that I kind of feel like intuition, because I don't like sharing my true self because of some failed relationships. They kind of took that they took it for granted. When I kind of share some secrets, and it wouldn't be a lot, but it's like if you shared one thing to one person and it gets around, it's like you know who it came from. Very childish ways, but that's how I kind of navigated through identifying those type of meaningful relationships that are nourishing and impactful in my journey. So it's like a lot of those relationships I've learned for sure, but I'm definitely more cautious when it comes to allowing them into my circle.
Gotcha. And what was your last heartbreak relationship like? What happened?
It kind of just, we grew apart trying to find ourselves independently. So it's unfortunate, but everything happens for a reason. Our story was already written for us. So I guess it's just how it's supposed to play out in the future. You know, hopefully things can align, but can't force it.
Okay. And how long did this relationship last?
It was several years. Like it was over 5, almost 7.
Over 5, girl, that's a 2-year jump. Over 5, almost 7. So I guess at 5, it started to kind of go downhill. Is that why you're saying over 5, almost 7?
Yeah, you could say there was
at 5 years.
a change.
Okay. And what change took place at 5 years that you guys started to grow apart? How old are you, Riahna?
I'm 25.
Oh, you make me feel like granny. Even though I'm about to be 39 soon, and by the time your episode posts, I will be 39. So I'm about to be 39,
Oh,
and it's crazy to hear you say 25 because 25 I had just had, I think I was pregnant with my second child. So it's like 25. So this is a relationship that started, I'm going to assume at 18.
yeah, I was 17 turning
Gotcha. So
18.
this is young. And at that age, you are legitimately young. What the heck do you know about cultivating a healthy relationship? You don't know anything. You're just
Don't know, and
excited.
that's where we're at right now because we grew up together. It was like from a teenager to like literally being a young adult. It was like, all right, now you start to lose yourself, and it's like I couldn't like identify who I was anymore, and it was like it was very bad. It was like trying to look at the mirror. It's like I couldn't even like look at myself in the mirror because like I didn't know who that was.
Because you weren't
Um,
happy in the place you were in the relationship that you were in because your work life was flourishing, but your personal life, well, I'm assuming the
oh,
relationship
that
was
was
not flourishing.
yeah. It wasn't. I mean, it had to a lot of it was a lot of hills and valleys. I mean, it wasn't always bad, but it was like in that particular relationship, we both like put forth like all our efforts into our
Mm-hmm.
work. Me more so being like more independent at that particular stage. So it was like our time and capacity levels definitely decreased. You can only do so much with availability if you're being stretched everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now,
I don't know if I answered the
no,
question.
you did answer the question. I know what you mean.
Okay.
So now, what happened in the relationship at 5 years? And let's just talk about yourself because we can't talk about how your partner felt because he or she, let me say this, you didn't tell me if it was a man or woman. He or she is not here. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
talk about Riahna. What started to change for you at year 5? Because you're 25 now. How long has it been since you guys kind of broken up? Is it fresh?
Um, Things went left a year ago, so this
So
was
it's
yeah,
still pretty new because a year is still fresh in my mind. So
yeah.
really at like what, 23, my rusty math at 23, this is when you started to kind of question this whole relationship thing. What was going on? Was there trust issues? Was it financial issues? Was there emotional abuse, infidelity?
There was infidelity. There was acquired like because it was so long and we never really started. It was never established like on a good like way. Like it was like we were just always we made it
Mm-hmm.
work. I guess you could say like it was like almost like not necessarily forceful, but it was like we made it work because that was where our time was. Like we were always
Oh,
together.
so let me ask
Um,
you, did you guys claim each other outside of when you weren't together? When you speak to people, were you like my boyfriend or my girlfriend? And did that person,
that was towards more the middle latter
oh,
years. In the beginning, not really. It was like off and on. So it was like,
oh. So was y'all just
yeah,
like, was it a sexual romance? And
yes.
then it elevated to a relationship, kind of like you just said, okay, we're together all the time. So I guess we're an item now.
They were, I considered my best friend. So it's like we were still developing we were developing like a friendship as, so it's like, it's very complicated. But yeah, it wasn't like just like we was like always, it's like a
Mm-hmm.
friend. Like you could always connect and have a bond. So that was there despite everything
Gotcha.
else. Because we were still focused on each other. Like we was very still focused. Like I got my master's and everything during this relationship. So
Oh, okay. That's right. You do have your master's already. So even during
hmm
this whole situation, you kept your focus in school And in your work
I
life,
had to get it
yeah.
done.
Okay. And
Yeah,
you
I'm
didn't
not
mind
playing no
that to
games.
deter you, which is good. So when did
Mm-mm.
the infidelity take place? What year? In
That was the year
That was the
5.
year 5. That was just like, okay.
Yeah,
And was it on whose part? Your part or the other person's part?
it was my part.
So you were the
Yeah,
unfaithful one
at that time,
at that time.
yes.
So I'm assuming at some point the other person became unfaithful as well.
That's where in the beginning it was all just blurry.
Oh, so it was more. Okay, so let me clarify it. So you definitely became unfaithful, but in the beginning it was blurry because you weren't pretty sure if that person was unfaithful or not.
No, I have receipts, so I definitely know. It's but it was like, oh, that was the only person I was talking to or with. So I just started requesting their respect in return.
I see. And I want to point that out because as our listeners are listening, and your situation is very similar to what Shirley went through when she was younger. Our relationship with hubby and I, we started off as fuck buddies in the beginning. I mean, that's what it was. And I started off much younger. We were 15. So we're talking about for the first from 15 till about, I'm going to say 20. 19 or 20, we were just fuck buddies. Like, we were good
Yeah.
friends. We got along well, and sex was an added benefit. That's really all it was. We didn't really claim each other. When I spoke to my friends, they knew the one person I was sleeping around with, but I wouldn't say that's my boyfriend in conversations. I wasn't claiming him in that way. So when I listen to your story, it reminds me very much of younger years of me. And we got older at 19 or 20. That's around the time we're like, okay, we're going to make this official. Now, at our young age, like I told you, I kept my focus in certain things. So we bought a house very young. At 19, I was 19 and he was 20. We bought a house. So we really took it up a whole bunch of notches. And then we bought a house. And then at 24, 25, we ended up 24. I think we had our first child. 25, we're having our second child, and he's a year older than me. So as I'm listening to you say all this, I'm hearing all of the same situations I was going through, because from like 15 to 19, it was very blurry for us too. And blurry is a good word to use because we were together, but we weren't together. We were just really close friends with the added sex benefits. That's really all it was, but we weren't claiming each other. And it wasn't until
Yeah.
I realized, same thing you said, I started to ask for the respect. That's when things started to change a little bit, but we still went through it for many years. It was still toxic. There were good moments, there were bad moments, but it was very an unhealthy relationship because it was two young people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. I didn't know what boundaries were. I didn't know what a love language was. I didn't know what was good for me. I didn't know what was good for my partner. We were just coexisting, literally. That's all we were freaking doing, coexisting and trying to survive and listening to what some people were saying, and some of the information that we were getting were not good. And we just did our best. So when I hear you say that, like, I demanded my respect, it just brings back memories because I know what you're talking about when you say I demanded my respect.
Yeah.
Because you got to the point where, like, okay, what the hell is going on here? I think we're like monogamous, but you out here doing your thing. So this ain't going to work for me. And then now you're like, okay, we need to make this serious. So what I want to ask you is, was your infidelity kind of like, I'm going to get back at you?
No,
No.
I felt at this particular time period, I felt very alone and abandoned because I was in a new city. I was already 6 months into this new city that I moved in. with them as well as their friends. It was like a roommate group situation. That's another story. But it was I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. I could tell with you as you're thinking of what your train of thought is. I can tell this really hits home for you. Like you're still recovering from it. You're
Yeah,
still healing from it.
it's still there. It's literally there. It's
Yeah.
here. But yeah, I just felt abandoned during that time frame. But that's when they were more 100% independent, striving for their goals, and I just felt like I wasn't a priority anymore.
Were you guys living together?
Yes.
You were living together. And how long did your affair last?
A hot second. It wasn't like I was looking for
it was like a
it was
one night
just-
stand type of thing. Like you didn't repeatedly go back and go back and go back.
Nah.
Okay.
No. It wasn't.
Did you?
I don't, because that's how you get like emotional connections and stuff. I don't.
So you cut that off. You were smart enough to cut it off real quick, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunate for them, but yeah, it wasn't. I knew what. It's like in the moment, you know what you're doing, but it's like it is what it is. Unfortunately.
And did you tell your partner?
Yeah, I confessed
Right away, like the next morning, Riahna?
No, it was a period after. This was last year.
And how did your partner feel?
They couldn't take it. In comparison to what I've endured on my end with them, they couldn't take that.
Really broke them.
Yeah, and that's when everything was shifting. Even though we would still try, it was like the inner, like we was like a soul, like very, like we was very tight. So it's like it just shifted everything. 'Cause this is like after COVID, like lockdown and everything. Like we was very, yeah.
Gotcha. And so the other person is the one who initiated the breakup because they couldn't take it.
Yeah.
So you guys would have still been together if the person was able to look past the affair.
I think it added on to everything else because that was like the cherry on top for them. But it was like in the past, there was like a plethora of things from both parties. So it was just
when you say both parties, what do you mean by that?
Me and
okay.
them.
Okay.
So it's like when, yeah, it broke them for sure. But it was like I still felt like I was being led on during that time, even though, again, like I'm focused on my professional life. So it just shifted my focus. But it's like I was still yearn for like the time and attention from them because it's like I'm not going out my way to find somebody else right now. Like my focus is working, and that was already taking up a lot of my capacity anyway.
Gotcha. So I would think that by them wanting to end the relationship was a bit of a relief for you because it seemed like there was a part of you that was not happy in this relationship.
Yeah, you can say that.
And
it was
but you don't seem to be relieved, my dear.
Cuz it's still like there. It's not like I'm detached from it. It's not like I'm thousands of miles from it. It's not like I'm like something drastically like shifted. Like it was
They're
like
in the house.
The environment is still there. Yes.
Oh.
That was in the message.
You know what, girl? I must have missed it. I must have missed that part. That's what you said. It's still there. Okay, that's why now I get it. When you was like, it's in the environment. I was like, in the environment. Okay, I get what she's saying.
Yeah.
All right. So this is what you mean. So the person is still in the environment. Listeners, she is still living in the house with the individual. Okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't even catch that. And you know what? You did say that. but I think that was in the different message and that wasn't in this message. And I tried to like be as on it as I possibly can. And this one slipped through the cracks. How is that situation right now? And this has been it for the past year.
Now it's over a year because, yeah, we renewed it after they went. Then it's like things went south again. But it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So
Okay.
we have separate like living corners, you know. He keeps the peace. But I'm very, you know, it's like I just try to just stay in my little oasis over here. Because it's like distance is better. Distance is healthy.
Yes.
Distance is good.
Yes.
Distance is because we not there. We not there anymore.
Okay, so this is very interesting. Relationship really has been off for a while. You guys are living in the same home. Is this the same?
Then it was like, but we was like off and on. Like we would try, but then it's like now you're being scrutinized because of something that happened like prior to. It's like everything else is now, it's like a pile. So it's like you do something wrong that they may assume is wrong. Then it's like, oh, I'm going to just bring everything else that you did wrong.
Gotcha.
And it's, yeah. So
there's still a lot that needs to be worked through.
On my end, yeah. Worked through and moved on from, yeah. But that it's more independent. You can't merge people together until you independently like, you know,
Absolutely.
grow up and heal.
That's very true.
That's
even when you go to therapy as a couple, you need to make sure you're going to know that I need help. It's not here. Like a lot of times, couples will think, well, I'm only here because you need to fix what's wrong with you, when that's not the way to look at it. We both need to therapy needs to start as an individual reason, not because, I'm here because of her or him and they need to fix what's wrong with them. No, you need to know that both of you need to get on the right path, because obviously something has derailed and what used to work is not working anymore. And also people are consistently growing. Growth is consistent. So the Riahna you were at 17, that prime little age, 25, even though 25 is still young, but that's a lot of years that's gone by. You've added a lot of education to those years too. You have your master's degree now. At 17, you were just finishing high school. Now you are a woman with your master's degree. Do you know how much knowledge you have obtained in all those years?
Definitely a lot. It's like an encyclopedia up here.
So you are a whole different woman than you were all those years ago. So we as people are consistently evolving. And that's another thing we have to be mindful of, that I am not the same person I was at 17, 18, 19, 20. Even at 24, it's consistent growth. Growth is every day, every week, every month, every year. Now, how did you end up with a perfect 2-bedroom, 2-bath? How did that?
Because dealing with the first apartment, that I learned my lesson then. They always have 2 everything, because and I came from living in a home with 3 siblings, 2 parents. So I already know what it's like sharing with a bathroom, 1 bathroom with 5 people. Like,
you made sure there were 2 bedrooms and 2 baths in case something was to go disarray. You didn't have to worry so much.
No, have 2 bathrooms, because you definitely need 2 bathrooms for if it's more than 1 person in there, especially if you want to have roommates, you know, your family over. And then he does his work in the other room. That's what the room was originally for.
I see. Okay. So it wasn't an intent of, I'm going to think of bad in the future. I see.
No.
Okay.
No, it was
it was for the reasons. It was like a guest room if you were in a house.
Yeah. Guest room, office room, studio room.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you guys gone to therapy?
We did last year. No, it was after I confessed. Yeah. I think it was after. It was around that time frame. Yeah, because I was having a lot of anxiety. I felt definitely released. and relieved after I expressed it. But that was different. That's when I became more conscious and aware of like what was going on within myself, and understanding a lot of the things that I used to suppress. Like I couldn't run anymore because otherwise it would continuously follow me. So it was a lot of trauma that I never healed from. I just moved away from to avoid it. I think it was a good insider for me to kind of start that path for my spiritual journey.
So you didn't go to therapy together. You went to therapy as an individual.
I went as an individual, and then we did one session together. It was the last session. It was like only a few that I did.
Okay. So really you signed up for yourself and you invited him. Gotcha. Yes. Gotcha. Okay. And for you, it was definitely a benefit. Would you say they benefited from it? Even that one session?
No, because that's when he shined light on who I was to the counselor. So I think he needs it himself independently. I think everybody needs it. It's definitely a healthy mechanism, whether it's counseling, therapy, something in the medical field where someone else is able to provide insight on who you are and how you should maneuver as a person, individual in the society. I mean, I think we both got pointers, but it also shined light on like where we lack within our relationship. So yeah, I don't know. Can't really speak for them, but
you're right. You can't speak for them, but I agree with what you just said. Therapy is important because, as my therapist has told us, therapy is like, you know how in your car you have to get a oil change every so many miles, and if you don't, then your engine's going to break down. So the mental capacity is the same. Every so often, you really need to see your therapist. You really need to speak to someone. There's nothing wrong with that. And especially therapy has gotten this negative connotation is you go speak to a therapist when something is wrong. But that's not the case. If you're having a great day and your life is at 10, there is nothing wrong to schedule a therapy session and go speak to your therapist and just to have a chat with them and to talk with them. But we don't do that because we're raised, you go to a therapist or a counselor or whatever name that your person that you're seeing has when something's wrong. But when things are going good, you don't need to speak to anybody because things are going good, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, the same thing with praying.
Exactly. Same thing with prayer, because we only think about God or we only pray when things are going disarray. But when things are going good, girl, we calling him. We know who he is. But when things are going good, oh, no, we have no idea. God who? What? Prayer? Oh, I haven't prayed in like 2 months. This is what we do. Same exact thing. As soon as things are going great in our lives, we don't want to do those, what do I call them? Kind of like fine tuning. Our mental capacity needs to consistently be fine tuned. That's why prayer, if that's something that, whatever it is that you do, whether it's prayer, meditation, that's something you need to do on a consistent basis. Just because things are good, it doesn't mean you need to stop. And same with therapy. Right. It needs to be on a consistent basis. And just as you said, you need to start for yourself, because therapy has helped me realize that I don't have all my shit together, and I can be a very fucked up individual and have been and made some poor decisions. My mouth can be absolutely lethal to my husband because I didn't know how to properly speak to him as a man, and I'd speak to him like he's literally nothing, and I have to fine tune that. Because it's all about taking accountability. We can blame all day. But if you don't realize what's wrong with you, then that's where it all starts. It all starts with you. It all starts with you.
That was a wake-up call for me.
Well, that's good. At least the session was good. So I'm assuming that you will go back.
I would do it again. I think I would need a therapist. To heal my trauma before I then go back to a counselor once I am I passed that
Gotcha.
point.
Gotcha. And
So, but it was a good experience to kind of have that.
that's
Yeah.
good. So, what is the plan for the future with you and this person? Is there a goal maybe next year where you two are going to part ways? Because I'm assuming the reason you two are still together, financial must play a huge role. And the lease
Yeah, it
agreement and
helps.
whatever the case may be, all this play a huge factor. And at some point, the ties is going to be broken. Is that correct?
At some point, I mean, there was investments on my
Mm-hmm.
side. So yeah, it won't be over till that's over. But the lease, yeah, that ends next year. I think we do need to like really separate and like live apart,
Mm-hmm.
like live and then live, like live your life apart. Like when you move past someone, like you're supposed to like move
Mm-hmm.
on. You're not supposed to kind of be contained in like that same environment because no one is able to really expand, you know. So yeah, that's my plan.
Okay. And I wanted to comment on what you said about moving from that environment. In my eyes, I see it
Mm-hmm.
as a positive and negative. So, like, I definitely feel when you break up with someone, your ex,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely need to break the tie, especially if the situation was negative in some way. And when I say negative, the negative can be emotional, spiritual, financial, physical, especially spiritual, whatever the negativity
Mm-hmm.
is, even verbal, whatever it is, you really need to break that tie so you can grow apart, rediscover yourself, and then be able to reconnect when both of you are at a healthy place. But sometimes also, listeners, remember, some relationships don't always necessarily break up on a negative playing field. There are some people, very rare, that when you do break up, it's a very mature breakup, healthy, and you part ways and you are able to still maintain not living in the same location because your situation is different. You're still living in the house with the individual, not necessarily living in the same house. That's not what I'm saying. I don't suggest any people who break up should still be living under the same roof because it's really hard. It really is. Even
Yeah.
if it was a healthy breakup, it's just hard. How are you supposed to live? How are you supposed to even invite people over when you're still in that same house with that person? That's hard. So
Mm-hmm.
I do believe in breaking of the ties. Can it be a healthy tiebreaker? Yes. Can you still keep in contact with the person? Yes, you can. But I don't suggest living in the same house. And, you know, when you guys listen to this episode, definitely let us know what you think about living in the same home with someone after a breakup and what are your thoughts about it. So before we get into your business and ask you what made you go full time the last year, I have a few more questions
Mm-hmm.
for you. So be honest with
Yeah.
me, Riahna. Is the tie completely broken or is there sexual desires still being fulfilled here? Girl, if you got to think about it, that means yes.
I
You are the cutest, yo. If y'all could
I
see her
am work.
face, y'all could see the reason why. Like she is a bit funny because she stops to think, and I already know like what the answer is, but I want her to respond. Go ahead, you can respond, Rihanna.
um, we've had rendezvous in the past. That is recent. However, I feel like it's if I were to meet someone
Mhm.
new, I would be fine.
Okay. Okay.
It's just
It's just convenience.
unfortunately, this is
Got you.
sad.
She
This
said,
is so bad.
I love it. We've had rendezvous in the past. I'm not going to say yes or no. We've just had some rendezvous.
Yeah. Just and yeah. I
It
mean
is what it
it's
is. I
yeah.
get you.
It's just been a long time. Like, it's not like someone you like.
I know what you mean.
It's
And
just
this is the reason why that the tie got to be broke. Once that lease is
no,
closer,
I
yeah,
agree.
to be
It's
up because it's
yeah,
hard. Especially, look, if hubby and I broke up, when we did break up, you had to go. I am still sexually attracted to you, dude, regardless how I feel about you. And I may be upset with you and I may be mad, but I'm still sexually attracted
yeah.
to you. There are some like emotions there. You may make a left
Mm-hmm.
turn a certain way and be like, the certain outfits you may wear. And I know I'm making comedy out of this, but it's the truth. I could not
It's very
live
true.
in the
Yeah.
same house after I separate from this man. You have got to go. One of us has got to go somewhere. But I cannot wake up to see you in the morning, to be looking at you on a daily, consistent basis. No.
Yeah.
No.
I
So,
agree. I mean, in my case, they're really here. I'm like here most of the time. And then like I'm starting to travel, see my friends. Got friends in every state almost.
good.
So yep,
That's good.
go find a friend.
And you try to avoid the situation as much as you can. Are you guys
While I
are you
can,
guys at
yeah.
least
Because
amicable? Like, hello, Riahna.
yeah, he does
Okay.
that. I'll respond if I feel up to it at that moment.
So you have a little more attitude and he's kind of like hello and hi.
Yeah, because
Okay.
yeah, because currently it's on
I
him
got
right
you.
now. He's in
Got
bed.
you.
Yeah, so
I got you. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the positive because even through all this young lady is 25 years old, has been able to stay focused in her schooling, and she has gotten her master's and letting us know, what is your master's in again? I didn't read that part on here.
It's an entertainment
business. And within the last year, she has been able to do her business full time. So what happened a year ago, which made you transition to going into your business full time?
COVID. Literally. Swear on everything. Like I was already an independent contractor, but it was virtual, so I would only receive, projects or stuff to work on independently, but it wasn't a real like commitment. So my full-time job at that time, I was at Marriott, and I started at Marriott like in December of 19.
Okay.
Yep. And then, but it was under construction, so I wasn't really working. It was just a lot of like housekeeping. You're helping create the hotel and everything. So by time it came to March, we were eventually, full time. So it took us time to even open. So I wasn't even working. So then by the time we started, it was like, you have just been laid off due to COVID. Because everybody got the letter. Like nobody was guaranteed a full-time position anymore unless you was in management or you worked overnight. And it was cool once the stimulus came in, unemployment was there. Like it was beautiful. Like COVID was great. So for me, it was financially, like I know how to manage my money. So you give me free money. Yes, I'm gonna know how to do my taxes and stuff like that. But from that point, it was like, yeah, I can't work for nobody. It was just, yeah, I'm good off of this because clearly anybody's replaceable. And even though this pandemic was uncontrollable, when you are a business owner, you control your business. When you work for somebody else, you can't control that. Everybody's replaceable, like I said, literally. And in any industry, you're always looking to be replaced. So unless you are at that management role, you really don't have any flexibility. Well, guaranteed placement, I should say, in that particular role. So at the end of August, I eventually interned for a independent music company. I won't
You
mention
don't have
them.
to.
Yes. And that was when, once I got paid, I had my business established before then. So I was already accumulating income into that particular entity in that account. I still didn't really have an idea of what I wanted it to be because my background is so diverse. It was like, what could I do? And then towards February, I had left and went to a different business company, and I was there for about 90 days or so, so about 3 months. And that was when I was offered a full-time position, but I was a contractor at this point still. So when I denied the full-time position and the salary that they gave, I sent my proposal to be an independent contractor, because at this time I wasn't actually, when you're a contractor, you're supposed to say, I want this rate, and this is what I'm going to do. Like, none of that was discussed. I was just working. That's an employee. So when I denied that option to be a salaried employee and to remain as an independent contractor, and I proposed my rate and all the projects I would be doing, because I was already doing majority of the stuff that was already listed on there, they did not respond, and then I was wrongfully terminated. And that was like, yep, I'm gonna just work for myself, because I can't deal with y'all. Because I'm from New York, so we don't do that, you know? And I think it's a Georgia thing. So yeah, I'm just work for myself, because I don't got time. I don't got time. I'm not about to sit here and teach you how to run a business. I can do that myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us, what exactly do you do when you say entertainment business? What is your scope of job? Like, what is the day-to-day work life like for Riahna as an independent contractor?
So as a trusted advisor, I would be helping these businesses or brands from an operational standpoint, as well as financial, educational, literacy type of component. So I would be identifying what their problem areas are and why they can't scale. Why are you, even this is more for established business owners, so that means you are already accumulating revenue, but say they're old school or older generation, they probably are doing a lot of word of mouth services. But it's like, you add some marketing in there, even if it's a small marketing, because you don't do marketing, you're already going to receive a return on that investment, because you're definitely expanding your exposure to the digital world. And that's a major value moving into this digital, economy, e-commerce site. So that's where I would kind of identify the problem areas and provide solutions. And I would be able to measure it over time, and just be a valuable, asset to whatever they are needing or missing when it comes to maybe identifying the team players, if they are missing, or if they have and they need to kind of reassign or maybe remove them. Like, that's where I provide that insight. Like, yeah, sometimes you're providing that holistic external overview, because if you're the CEO, you are doing a lot. So unless you're everything, so your hands in everything, so you may know everything, but if you're the one outside looking in, it's easier for you to kind of give that expertise on how you can move forward. Because if you're so passionate and you're continuously doing it, that means there's a reason that you can't, restrict yourself or restrain yourself to kind of just be the CEO. Because you literally should only be, knowing about your books and marketing to get more clientele. So yeah, I provide that insight.
It's interesting that you say that, because the other thing I realized, how Will Smith just recently wrote a book, right? And we know how big Will Smith is. Like, he's known pretty much, I want to say, worldwide. He's right up there with the name of Michael Jackson. Everybody worldwide knows who Michael Jackson is. I feel like Will Smith is right behind him, like him with a lot of other people. But even Will Smith, who just wrote a damn book, this man is going on a book tour, literally a book tour. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, okay, Shirley, everybody knows who this man is. Does Will Smith really need to do a book tour? Probably, maybe not, but it's probably a good business decision for him to do, to what? The word you just said, help market his book even more.
Yes.
And this is what I realized, that, and tell me if you agree with me or not, or what's your perspective of it. Small businesses, even such as myself, we don't market enough.
We do not.
We scared to
We don't.
market. We scared to put
Yeah.
money into our own business to market ourselves because you know what I've learned not too long ago? People assume that social media is all the marketing they need. And no, the hell it's not.
It's not.
And
Yeah.
I just learned that now, mind you, I'm new at the podcasting, so I'm doing a tremendous amount of research. January is going to be a year for me. But I was shocked to hear them say that, like a lot of people, and I am one of those, a lot of people, I'm raising my hand right now, that thought like
Same. Yeah.
Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter was marketing. And that shit is not marketing. That is what it is. It's social media. That's all it is. It's an added benefit to have it, but that is far from marketing. I was shocked, Riahna, and I was just like,
yeah,
I ain't doing enough. And now I'm starting to realize, okay, I have to have a marketing budget and I need to do a lot more because if I want to scale my business to the next level, Facebook and Instagram is not enough. That's just one piece of the puzzle, but it's not enough. That's why it was interesting to hear you say marketing because like even like the old school businesses, if they're used to doing business a certain way, you step in to let them know, okay, we're going to need to advance this so you can scale to the next level. Because if you're still trying to do business the way it was being done in 1995, we're now in 2021, soon to be 2022. That ain't going to work.
It's not. Yeah. And it's like, it's good to have those old ways, but it's like just providing that new light, those new streams. New platforms.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Now, where do you see your business in the next year, Riahna? And I applaud you, 25-year-old Black woman, and you're in business for yourself. Like you literally like,
yes.
I'm doing this shit on my own. I'm not working with nobody. And I applaud you for that because at 25 years old, you couldn't go in business for myself. So you're telling me I'm not going to get a paycheck every 2 weeks? That doesn't seem comfortable.
Yes, it's not smooth, I would say, but it's definitely more peaceful on this side and, dealing with energies that don't, correspond with, your higher good and environments that you can't control. And it's like, yeah, no, I can control when I can get up, how long I want to work, how much or not work, I control it all. And I'm okay with that right now. Definitely okay with it. Got me in control of my life because everything didn't feel like I was in control.
Well, that's good. That's good. So where do you see yourself in a year?
I see myself definitely with at least 3 to 5 clients, and kind of just allowing them to take them under my belt and help scale them for at least a few years, just so I can be that like special secret in their back corner to help them with their success. I don't really want, or I don't aim to look for those short-term relationships or short-term partnerships, because that's where it's like it's more meaningful and you have a better impact if it's definitely over at least 6 months, minimum. But yeah, I do see myself having a successful brand that has a good presence everywhere in real life with people, make sure my exposure is good, my reputation is good, but I also have a good legacy that is being expanded upon. And that's what I really yearn for. Making sure my client success aligns with my also professional and personal success.
Gotcha. Now, before we go today, what word of advice do you have to offer for our young ladies out there who might be in a very similar situation, relationship wise, from coming up from a hard breakup or just in a relationship right now where they're struggling? There's 2 parts to this question. One part is what helped you maintain your focus both in school and in work, even though your relationship was in need of traumatic help?
Being the
Mm-hmm.
oldest of two younger brothers, it was like I was always a role model in their eyes. Like they always looked up to me. They still do. So my parents always compare them to
Mm-hmm.
me. And it's like, I was like also like the second
Mm-hmm.
mom, while mom's working, I'm like, all right, I'm the oldest one. Everyone needs to listen to me. This is what we about to
Mm-hmm.
do. So it was like they're my motivation
Okay.
really to be authentic because I help them navigate through this life. I'm like, I give them my full honest opinion. I'm here for every cry, every success that they have. It's like, I'm going to share what I did so you don't make the same
Mm-hmm.
mistakes. They are hard-headed boys. So, sometimes goes one ear out the other, but I do my due diligence to make sure that they get their message across. But definitely my brothers are my motivational force and just striving to it's like everyone has a success level, but I feel like mine, once I reach mine, it's like I'm already 10 years down the line. Like, it's like, all right, cool. Now what's next? Like, all right, let's go. Like, because when I don't have that type of drive to yearn for or to really strive for, that's where I feel like complacent and a lot of like the mental illness starts to arise, going through those breakthrough moments. And it's like, it just gets lonely when you're trying to really strive to be very successful. And it's like, you won't take no for an answer. You will accept and receive opinions and, advice. But when it comes to, oh, I'm going to do it. Like, you can tell me whatever, but it's like, I'm about to do this because I already did this. So it's like, we only going to go forward now. Like, I can't, you're not helping me. So I'm going to just excuse myself and continue moving forward. Just continue to align myself with the right people to help mentor me and guide me. Because the successful people in this world, they didn't do it by themselves. So it
It
takes a
does take a
team.
team.
And that's what I'm just trying to clearly identify those relationships.
Gotcha.
And that's what pushing me. Like, I want to be successful. I want to just be free. I want to just to live. And you can't really do that until you're like an investor. You're getting all the coins everywhere. You know how to partnerships, you know about relationships, but in your personal life, you also know how to maintain, that family and that love and that unity. So it's definitely, I want a holistic, successful, happy life.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm yearning for, making sure every element in my journey is taken care
That's
of.
good.
Yeah.
And what word of advice do you have to offer to the females out there that are in your age range? I mean,
Uh-huh.
women go through challenges in their relationship at any age, but at your young age, it's
Yeah.
happening consistently. And what word of advice do you have to offer to them to help them either keep their focus or let them
Mm-hmm.
know there is light at the end of the tunnel? They don't have to be stuck in that situation because we all know everybody has a choice.
Yes. Definitely always make sure you're good at the end of the day. Whatever that message means to you, just make sure you are good. If that means, physically, like, should that arise, make sure you know how to take care of yourself. Financially, always make sure you have your finances in check. Especially if you are a female, there is no excuse. You need to make sure your finances are in check. If a man wants to provide on top of that, that's wonderful, but you need to make sure you can cover your all expenses in full, no splits. When it comes to emotional, you want to make sure you prioritize your needs, you prioritize your wants, and you establish those boundaries and you actually express them to whomever is coming into your aura. It's definitely important, especially when you get to this age. It's like you're not a child anymore. We are adults, and you have to put your foot down and be a pioneer for the life that you want to have. You can't make excuses anymore. You have to take accountability, and you really have to, really show out for yourself if you want to achieve the results that you desire. Yeah, I can go on, but I feel like do you Do you first, and then worry about everybody
That's
else
good
later.
advice. Even me at my age,
Yeah.
I agree with everything that you're saying. Do you put yourself
Yeah.
first? As ladies, if y'all follow me, y'all know, like she said, make sure your finances are in check. Make sure whatever financial situation you have put yourself into, that you can handle. When that partner comes into your life, that is an added benefit. Whatever he or she decides to help you with, that is great, and take it as a blessing. But if things change between you two, make sure you can handle whatever situation that you are in. So I agree with you 100% on that, especially my ladies, man, because I think sometimes we allow ourselves to get to a place where we are so ultrally comfortable, and that's not good.
Yeah, and that's when everything goes, ooh, you don't know what happened. And it's like, no. If anything, make sure the finances are there, because you got to get up out of there if you need to. You got to have emergency.
Absolutely. All right.
That's me.
Well, Riahna, I really appreciate you being a guest today. It was very good talking to you. It was fun talking to you because your situation really brought back memories of the younger Shirley, because very slightly similar. I remember them young prime ages. Yeah. But I respect your success. Master's degree at 25. You are in business for yourself at 25 years old. You don't hear that often.
Yes.
And when you do hear that, usually some type of family member has helped in that, but you did it all on your own. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. So listeners, her information will be all on the website when this episode does post. And as always, want to always thank you guys for listening. And remember to love yourself, voice yourself, and be yourself. Until the next podcast, have a great one, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Funpale Podcast. If you want to continue the conversation or share your takeaways, I want to hear from you. Head on over to the website or join our Facebook community and comment your favorite part of the show or share your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Chat with you next week.